welcome to another episode of StateSideReds. Some big news today, big news. BruNO Fernandes has decided to stay at Manchester United. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Sancho coming back to Manchester United. And then we'll talk about, real quick, with the Mbeumo. It looks like the price has been set for that. So let's dive into it. So BruNO Fernandes deciding to stay at Manchester United. It took him 3 weeks to do this. I honestly believe that he did want to leave. I think if a club like Real Madrid, Barcelona, even Bayern had come in, I think he would have gone. But the fact that it's, 𝙈𝙊𝙍𝙀 and they're not going to get the big European competitions, I think that kind of changed his mind in the fact that he wanted to stay. But let's get behind him now. He's had a crap team in front of him for a while now. Now that we're looking at Mbeumo, we're looking at 𝗕𝙀 and number 9 in front of him. All teams that are going to score, all players that are going to score. I think it will suit him very well. Clearly going to be dropping back into that position right behind, right in front of 𝗕𝙀, behind the number 10s. Going to be dictating the play, pinging it out. I was saying with Mikey last night that I do believe that he needs to stay in that role. I think he has a tendency to drift all over the field. But now that with having players in front of him and players behind him that he could probably trust a little bit more, I think that might be better for him to be able to stay in that position instead of running all over the place, ending up a left back, right back, striker. So I do believe that this is a good news for Manchester United. Am I a little disappointed in the fact that we're not going to get 100 million for a 30-year-old? Absolutely. But I'm also just as happy the fact that he's staying. 𝗕𝗫 saying sell Anthony, Sancho, Garnacho, Rashford, Højlund, etc. Absolutely. Every single one of those players for me must go. Must bring in money for those players this year. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of people on the want Garnacho to stay. I know there is. I don't want him to stay. I think putting a good sell-on clause in there, getting rid of him. I think the attitude is the problem for me. You have players like, trying to compare to Ronaldo and all these players, whatever. Ronaldo didn't have this attitude. He didn't come out in the media. I know the media wasn't around back then like it is today. But I think he, just like Sancho, he has the wrong people around him. I don't think you should ever have a family member as an agent. I think it just causes problems. You got yes men, right? You got people saying yes to him. Oh, you're the greatest. And I think it's going to have a Sancho, another Jesse Lingard situation. And we all know where Jesse Lingard's playing now. And I truly believe that Jadon Sancho will end up like that. But we'll get into that in a minute. But we're talking, like I said, with BruNO. I'm really happy that he's staying. Again, would I have liked to take a bit of money for him at a 30-year-old? Absolutely. But I'm more than happy for him to stay and sit in behind the 210s and dictate the play, ping those balls out. So well done, BruNO. He could have took that money. He could have took the 200 million a year and ran with it. But I really think, you're talking about a player that wants to be at a club, right? Or wants to be in the top flight. There's so many players taking that money and running and going to Saudi League and just ruining, not so much ruining their careers, but they're just not taking their, I get it, the football career is short. It's sweet. It's 10, 15 years if you're a solid player. And I understand why they take the money. I do. But when you also look at it, you want gold. You want to be in the best of the best. And I'm really glad that he's decided to stay. And it shows how much he loves Man United to turn down that amount of money. But again, I do believe if someone like Bayern had come in or Real Madrid, I think he would have gone. I really do think he would have gone. I think he's pissed off at Manchester United, to say the least. He signed a new contract last year and we promised that, we were going to be better, and we finished, 15th this year? That's not better. It's worse. I can understand if he wanted to leave. Stephanie saying, no more excuses now for BruNO. He has to deliver, but he hasn't. But he ain't a central midfielder. Just not disciplined enough. Too wasteful. I agree, Stephanie. I really do agree. But Rooney wasn't either. So maybe we can teach him to be this midfielder, right? Like I was just saying, he's now going to have two competent 10s in front of him. If Mbeumo comes, and we'll get into the price of that today because it looks like it's been set. If Mbeumo comes, you've got Cunha, and it looks like we're going to get a 9 as well with the sales. Maybe this will give him enough discipline to sit in that position. BruNO's decision to stay was predictable. Salah didn't want to go there. Sad he didn't squash rumours before the Europa League final. I agree with you 100%. He should have done this. And this is why I do think he should have left. He should have left. Why I think he was thinking, seriously considering leaving. Because he would have squashed those rumours, right? I think now that Man United are going out and they're signing Cunha, they're a bit heavily linked with Mbeumo. Newcastle fans, seriously, if you look online, they're going nuts right now about this. But the fact that he's seeing that United are going out like this, I think that kind of pushed him to stay. Ronaldo says, Stephanie Griffin, BruNO has always delivered 30-plus goals contributions for a midfielder. It's good. It's just for him to be disciplined. Agreed. But there have been reports out that, certain statistics that, a lot of those goals and assists do come from the lower end of the table. I know we're 15th, but we're not going to be there next year. I can promise you that one. We're not going to, with Mbeumo, Cunha, and a new number 9 that can score goals, we're not going to be anywhere close to 15th next year. 8th, maybe. Get another a window behind us next window, and then maybe push to the top 4. I think if we get someone like Gyökeres, I think we can push for top 5, but we're going to really need a world-class striker to get in that top 5 this year. And without one, I think we sit around 6th to 8th. BruNO, you got to remember, some of those goals are going to drop off next season. He's going to be dropping back into that midfield. He's going to have more, maybe the assists stay the same, but goals are definitely going to drop back. We're going to rely more on Cunha and Mbeumo to get those goals, and the striker to get those goals. And him being 30, dropping back, not running all over the pitch, wearing himself out for finals, I think might be a really good thing for him. And hopefully, like Stephanie says, that discipline does change next year. So we got that. Glenn, glad that he's staying. Glad our captain is staying. Let's get behind BruNO now. Let's move on to Jadon Sancho. What a waste of a career. What a waste of a career for for Sancho. We're talking about the fact that this kid had an opportunity to stay at Chelsea, who have Champions League football. You got a time to reset your career, take a pay cut. You were never worth what you were getting at Man United in the first place. Never worth it. United just had bad dealings back then. Our old backroom staff just didn't know how to sign anyone. They would just throw the checkbook at someone saying, hey, please come. That's all over now. It looks like the Mbeumo wages will be around 130,000 a week I'm looking at. I think right now he's only on 45. It's a big pay grade upgrade for him. But still, the low end for Manchester United. And I love how our backroom staff are getting these players on 150 and less. But Sancho, what are you doing? You're now going to come back to Manchester United. No team is going to pay you the wages that you want at Man United. No European team. I know there's reports out there that Saudi want him. And if that's what you want to do, go to Saudi. Take your 300 grand a week. Maybe his brother, or whoever's looking after him, has given him the idea that Saudi want you. Turn the Chelsea bid down. Go back to United. Saudi will buy you. And if that's what you want to do, fair play to you. Go get the money. But if you're going to be like BruNO and Mo Salah, and you want to stay in the Premier League and you want to challenge for European titles, even more, it's even better. It's for me, again, it's a catch-22, right? take the money because your career's short. But for me, I would always stay in Europe until the end of my career. Kind of like Ronaldo did, right? You bump over there at 37, get your money back then, or maybe even 32 for a player like Sancho, BruNO. I think BruNO stays to the end of his career, and then will pop over there and get his big paycheck because they're still going to want him. But Sancho, what are you doing? I don't understand this. I think it just shows what a cancer for me he is to the Man United and dressing room. I don't want him anywhere back near the first team. I don't care what attitude changes. We've seen it before. He came back into the team. He just attitude, Everyone talks about Ten Hag was, said all these things, but let's not forget, right? Ten Hag sent him away for almost a year to go get his head right, and he didn't. And he came back the same. So it's not like Man United weren't sympathetic to what was going on with him. They sent him away to try and, get his head, head right and be a better player. But he just, for me, it's too far gone. The fact that you don't want to stay at Chelsea and take a pay cut and play in Champions League football next year just shows to me that it's not about football for you. It's all about the money. Pep had an issue with him at City, from my understanding. United have had an issue with him. Bayern did, but not Bayern Munich. Borussia Dortmund didn't want him back, which shows there was a problem there too. He went missing in the final. And now Chelsea, he doesn't want to stay at Chelsea with Champions League football. They just won a European title at Chelsea, and you don't want to stay. So for me, it is what it is. Get him out as quickly as possible, and if he's not willing to leave, send him down to the youth academy, because I don't want him anywhere near this first team. I think we're changing our culture at Man United. We're getting some players that want to be here. Look what 𝗕𝗎 said. Mbeumo's picking us over Newcastle, over Arsenal, which goes to show that these players want to be here. And to bring someone like Sancho back into the dressing room is only going to just mess with our dressing room morale, the attitude with these players. I don't want him anywhere near it. Let's get to some of the comments here. BruNO's decision, we'll read that one. BruNO RSV, BruNO isn't positionally disciplined to play in a deeper position. I agree. We just said that with Stephanie. I think he's all over the place. He's left back, he's right back. But now having Mbeumo and 𝗕𝗎 in front of him, I think he doesn't have to do so much, right? He's had such a bad team around him that he's wanting to be all over the place and try and do anything. I think having those two players in front of him is going to help. And I think with 𝗕𝗎 not being very good at moving the ball forward, laying it off to BruNO and letting BruNO dictate the play, or moving it back to maybe 𝗕𝗏𝗏 at the left centre-back position, because we saw how good 𝗏𝗏 was at moving the ball forward this year. I think that's going to help 𝗕𝗎 as well, especially if BruNO can be more disciplined and stay in that position. Stephanie saying, Ronaldo, his figures are okay overall, but not in the Premier League where it matters, and the team hasn't scored 60 goals in the Premier League for 3 years now. That one is about to change, I believe, there, Stephanie. I really do. RSV, 100%. Stephanie has double digits in the Premier League. He has double digits in the Premier League. Ronaldo, not good enough at determinant for the team. Only stats really matters is team winning games. 100%. Stats can say stats all day long, but if you ain't winning games, it don't matter. BruNO needs to play to share the load where he doesn't trust the players around him. Look, when he plays for Portugal, he does all right. I get absolutely what I was just saying. I honestly think he'll be more disciplined next year in that spot in the central midfield. It looks like we're going to have 𝗕𝗏𝗏 as the right wing back, which I'm really excited about. Mbeumo and 𝗕𝗏𝗏 as you're on the right. I'm really excited about 𝗕𝗎 over on the left. So I'm really excited about those two. And then Stephanie, there are barely any midfielders putting double digits in the Premier League. Odegaard, Kevin De Bruyne, Szoboszlai did not. No, Odegaard's had a terrible season, to be honest. Kevin De Bruyne, what's he, 32 now, 33? He's moving on. It looks like he's going to Napoli. And Szoboszlai, he didn't play every game. He's a good player. I don't think he played every game. Liverpool, had that depth to be able to change it over. And then we're gonna move lastly over to Rasmus Højlund going. Oh well, and Mbeumo price. Let's look at the Mbeumo price. It looks like Brentford want the same price as what we paid for Cunha. That's what's being reported this morning. I don't blame them. Mbeumo put up better numbers than Cunha last year. And why would you let him go for 50? He's not on a buyout clause like Cunha was. So, Mbeumo, and that Newcastle want him. They know Arsenal want him. There's going to be a bidding war if... I know Mbeumo picked United. But Brentford don't have to let him go to Manchester United. He's got 2 years left on his deal. 1 year with an extension. The Brentford don't have to let him go. I understand why they're doing this. You look at Cunha for 62.5. I think Man United is still going to get it done. I think they'll compromise in the middle somewhere, maybe 55. Probably spread over a 5-year deal. Looking at about a 10.5 to 12 million out of our budget this year. So I still think we'll get it done. The fact that he wants to come to United, he doesn't want to go to Newcastle. He doesn't want to go to Arsenal. He wants to come to us, so that's a big positive right there. But 62.5 million, the same as Cunha. Are you guys willing to pay that? I personally am. I think with 20 goals this year, last season, I think it was 8 assists. That's better than expected compared normally for him if you look at his previous years. But I also look at the fact that he's 25. He's going to be 26 in August. He's coming into his prime. So I'm hoping, I'm going to say hoping that, this is getting in there now. It's getting into his prime. So that's why the numbers are getting better rather than his XP is higher than normal. Ronaldo, it says, I think 50 is about okay. I agree. I would love to pay 50, but it doesn't look like they're going to accept 50. They're going to want a little bit more than that. I feel they would compromise around 55, 56, somewhere in the middle. Because yesterday the reports were about 50 million. Today Brentford the reports are 62.5, the same as Cunha. But I don't blame them, right? Cunha's went for 62.5. I know it was a buyout clause, but Mbeumo had better numbers last season. Like six more goals last year and more assists than Cunha did. If Brentford are looking at that, they're going to look at why would we sell him for 50? So I do understand why they're doing that. For me, 55, 56 is okay. We know it's not going to be paid up front. We know it's going to be trying to be spread out over 5 years. I probably would see Man United doing 60 over a 5 year. I think if they're willing to take 60 and they're also willing to take it over 5 years, I think United would get the deal done. I think the deal... I said last night, I thought the deal would take more than 10 days. Last night, after watching some news and looking at everything, I thought, okay, this deal might get done before the transfer window closes in 9 days now. Now I'm back on the train of it's probably going to take a little longer. It'll probably be announced soon that the deal has been done. But I'm thinking in the next 10 to 15 days it will be done. I can't see this dragging out over the summer. United want to get their deals done. I think they'll be like, hey, if you're not going to take this, we're going to move on to our next target. And I really like the early business that United are doing here. We're going to move over to Sancho, Rasmus Højlund, should I say. It looks like Inter Milan are coming in heavy for Rasmus Højlund. I think the deal's going to be contingent on whether we can get somebody in, right? We're not going to sell Rasmus Højlund without having a striker that's coming in. Osimhen, I know there's talks today that Saudi are over in Paris today. They're talking to representatives of Osimhen, so it looks high possibility that Osimhen's going to go over to the Saudi league. Again, I'm not sure why you're doing this, other than the money. You know, there's always been that talk that Pep ruined football the way he plays. I think Saudi are just ruining football, man. It's just like, I get why the players, again, I get why they're doing it. It's a big, big paycheck. But for your career, to look back on your career and say, hey, I played in the Champions League, it's I don't know why. I wouldn't do it. Ronaldo is saying, if we get Mbeumo, what will mean... that will mean Ahmed will likely play as a wing back. My only problem with that is his height. We concede way too many goals from set pieces, overloaded on the back post. I agree, right? I absolutely agree. And it ain't going to make much difference because Mbeumo's not tall either. I think he's 5'8". I'm pretty sure Mbeumo's 5'8". So that ain't going to make too much difference. And then Cunha isn't too tall either. Let's look at his height. I think he's 5'7". Mbeumo's 5'7". So yeah, that ain't good either. Cunha's not too massively tall, so it doesn't. We've got enough players back there. Delit's height. Who else is back there? Euro's got some height. Harry Maguire's got some height. I would highly look at getting a taller goalkeeper, someone that can come out and collect the ball. It's just such a bad, like, there's so many problems with Onana, with his parrying and his ability to read the ball when it's coming in, and reading the ball when it's coming in at a height. You know, he should have given two penalties away. I was at the Wolves game of the opening season, his first ever Man United game, and he punched a guy in the head. It should have been a penalty. I was at Old Trafford. It should have been a penalty. Luckily got away with that one. So if we're talking and we're conceded about height, I would probably go with a different goalie, rather than being worried about Ahmed at right wing back. But both our wing backs are short, right? They're all short. StateSideReds, backs Ronaldo. Yeah, I understand it. I really do understand it. But can we not put somebody else at the back post and move him up a little bit more? Maybe a BruNO, maybe a 𝗕𝗀𝗍, put someone at the back post. Or here's a better idea: just get a goalie that can come out and collect the ball a little bit better than what Onana does. It don't take much, to get a goalie to come out and collect that ball. I'm really disappointed in Man United. Kelleher has just gone to Brentford, I believe, for 12.5 million. I don't understand why we weren't getting Kelleher. First off, I can't believe Liverpool letting him go. I think he was their goalkeeper of the year last year. He was fantastic, and to let him go for that price and we didn't even look at it, shocking for me. But we all know we need sales before we can start buying. But yes, regarding Rasmus Højlund, we'll get back to that. Rasmus Højlund looks like he potentially is going to go to Inter Milan. They've made him his #1 target. But I feel Manchester United are going to have to make some sales first. We're going to have to look at getting rid of Garnacho. We don't sign players from Liverpool. Liverpool sign players from Man United. So, you know, sometimes you gotta do it. Sometimes you gotta do it. Paul Ince went to Liverpool. Who else went to Liverpool? There's a bunch of people gone to Liverpool. So some people gone to City. You know, we have, who was the striker? Come on, guys, you know this. This English striker went from Liverpool to Madrid, and then went to Newcastle, went to Man United. He's a Scouser. So we do sign players that are from Liverpool. But yeah, for me, Rasmus Højlund, I 100% feel he's going to go this summer. I just think Manchester United are going to wait until they get a replacement in before letting him go. This one might drag out a little bit longer. He may be on tour with Manchester United. And it all depends on sales. United have now got to act quickly on sales. We've waited too long. Well, we haven't waited too long. We've got the right people in, right? We have 125 million. And Mbeumo and Cunha, great deals. Get them done early. They'll be on tour. I really do think they'll be on the tour. But now it's time to make sales. We've got to look at those players that we were looking at, that we were talking about earlier. Anthony, Sancho, Garnacho, Rashford. Those players have got to go first before Man United can bring in any more people. I think look out for Man United. Within the next 3 weeks, there's going to be big news on all of those. I really do believe that United are going to get rid of these real quick. Which keeper do you think we should get? 𝗕𝗓𝙍𝙀 from Italy. He's massive at 6'8", but I'll take 𝗕𝗓𝙍𝙀 Simon from Bilbao. Yeah, I'll take Simon from Bilbao. Look at the PSG goalkeeper. I know there are reports that it wasn't substantial from the big names. There are reports that he is in his last year of his deal, but he might be willing to move on. I still think he stays at PSG, but I would put some feelers out there to see if he's interested in joining United. Just won the Champions League. Maybe having the Champions League now, maybe would be willing to take on more of a new role of bringing Man United back. But yeah, for me, I do understand what you're saying regarding we are very, very short on the wing backs as defensive and height wise. And then, so yeah, that's for me. I think Rasmus will leave this summer. We just got to get those players sold before we can get him back in. Jumping on with that, we are live tonight for some more channels. We've got the StateSideReds coming in tonight with the whole shebang. We will be live at 8 p.m. Is it 8, 9? I haven't been on for a while, so it's been a while. But we will be live tonight. Just a shout out to our sponsors, Red Devil Threads, our local Man United t-shirt makers over in Manchester. Go ahead, hit them up. Use code StateSideReds for 10% off. And then 𝗕𝗓𝙍𝙀, our law firm over in LA. Do everything from slips and falls to car crashes. Got some great numbers out there. If you're in the LA area and you've fallen over on a banana or been hit by a car, go ahead, 𝗕𝗓𝙍𝙀 and Maluki. Great law firm over there. That's it from me today. Just wanted to jump on early, get us updated with the BruNO Stays. Everybody tune in for tonight. I should be back tomorrow with another episode of Manchester United history. And then Thursday, me and Mikey will jump on for just a quick update. Everyone else, peace out, and we'll see you tonight.